Hello guys and girls, welcome back to another episode on the Falcon YouTube channel. Hope you're all doing really well. And if you're watching this right now, you're probably thinking it is not Falcon Friday, and you are exactly correct. It is Tuesday. And the reason why we're doing this is that we wanted to do something special as we come to the end of a decade. I cannot believe that I'm saying this, that it's crazy to think that this year has completely flown by. And what we wanted to do is, because we're coming towards the end of the decade, we want to make sure that you're all prepared going into 2020 with the best possible start. So we wanted to do something special and do 2 uploads a week for the month of December as we come to the end of the decade, and just give you helpful tips, things that we believe that's going to prepare you and excel you for 2020. So we're really excited for it. And again, we would love to know your thoughts. We always appreciate the love and support and the feedback. So guys and girls, let's get into it. So in this episode, we thought we would cover something that is probably one of the most popular questions that I get asked all the time. You know, what's your view on signals? Do you offer signals and all those kind of things? You know, so I thought I'd just have a little chat with you guys and girls about it, my kind of viewpoints on it, and something that I think that you should consider. So let's just get into it more raw, just thoughts about it and things like that, because I do think this will offer a lot of value for you, especially if you're thinking about joining, you know, Forex and learning to trade and things like that. So let's start off. Firstly, should you sign up to a signal provider? Firstly, in the comments below, let me know if you have signed up to signals before, if you found that they've helped you, if you found that they've worked and things like that. So I would love to know your experience through that. Everybody's got a different experience, but the key things that we really want to highlight here is, think of it like this. If you're going to take signals, it's attractive for a lot of people because they think that it's going to be a way that you can earn while you learn, essentially. But you rarely learn while you're earning in that sense. And I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, that you're taking signals and you take a loss. At the beginning stages of your trading career, you're going to learn a ton about your losses, your mistakes and things like that. Now, let's say, for example, I sent you out some signals. I sent you out a signal, there was a win, a loss, etc. If you take a loss, are you going to go do your advanced self-review? You're going to look at that loss and say, you know, oh, what went wrong? How can we learn from that? Or are you just going to go, is what it is. I'll just wait for the next signal. And then, you know, if it's a win, it's a loss, etc. You're not going to learn. So the truth is, you're not going to learn while you're earning. You know, and even if that is if you're earning in the first place, but it really is going to make you reliant on the signal provider in that sense. And you got to think about it in this world. Like, no one's going to make you rich. No one is out there to just give you money. It doesn't work like that. You've got to earn your stripes. You've got to put the work in. But thinking about it from that perspective, think of it like this. Is it sustainable? So, for example, if I sent you out a signal in the London session, for example, you might be at work, you might be doing something else, it might not be in your time zone, how are you going to follow it? You're going to then start blaming yourself, you know, because you live in Canada, for example, that's why you're not successful. You need to move to London so you can always get the signals. You know, it's not going to work. Long term, I feel like it's very disempowering. It's gonna really leave you in a sticky situation because there's no real scale there either. So if you think about it, would you feel confident on more capital if somebody gave you 10 times what you're trading right now? Let's say you've got a £10,000 account, you know, you're happy to take some signals, you think it's a way to earn extra income. You know, it sounds reasonable, it sounds sensible, but it's kind of unrealistic. So think of it like that. Imagine you now have 50K or 100K trading account. Are you then going to rely on those signals and feel really confident with your capital, your money that you've worked for, to then rely on somebody else kind of telling you when to buy, when to sell, when to get involved in the market, when to get out of the market, when to take profit, etc.? Really, probably not. So there's no real scale in my mind to do that. It really only satisfies the short-term mind rather than long-term mind, because you're just thinking about short-term things. So you really have to think about scale, guys and girls. And if you're getting into trading in the first place, the only signal you should be really taking is one from the market. And it's the same with indicators. The only indicator that you really need is yourself, by looking at the charts and taking signals from the market and actually seeking that. So I think that's one of the most important things. So think about, you know, signals as a whole. Could they work for some people? And can some people be accurate that offer you signals? Of course they can, that's fine. But you're building up this reliance on somebody else that if they went somewhere else or they shut down, etc., How are you going to trade? How are you going to earn an income? Think of it like this. The worst thing that could happen is that it actually does well for you, because you imagine that it does so well for you. For example, this is really, really just out there, but imagine it does so well for you that you upgrade your lifestyle. Let's say you've got a bit of capital, starting working well, you're making a bit of money, that signal provider then goes away, for example. Then what? How are you going to upkeep your lifestyle? You've just been relying on somebody. And not only relying on somebody to make money, relying at scale, which is even more scary if there was even scale in there, which I don't think there is. But if it did happen, then what are you going to do? What if your monthly outgoings is now £5,000 a month and you've been relying on somebody else to make you money and then they're not there anymore? How are you going to keep up your mortgage payments or your car payments, etc., whatever it may be? You see my point? There's no real longevity in it. There's no scale. And this is why at Falcon and other trading communities will say the same thing. It's really about empowering that trader to be independent, because when you can become independent and you can be the asset, that is where you can sustain it for the long run. So I think these are the most important things that you really want to consider if you're somebody asking, because I get messages constantly. I'm sure a lot of you have had similar things. Should I take signals? The truth is, it's completely up to you. Can it work? I'm sure it can at a certain extent, but will it give you the long-term results that you're after? No, it's a firm no. There's very, very rare examples. I think there's 0 examples. Have you ever heard of a success story that signed up to a signal service? No, because nobody makes you rich. Is there one where the struggle of having to pick up your phone and receive the signal and you had to place the trade? It just doesn't exist. So longer term, I don't think it's going to work for you. So if you're considering getting into Forex for that reason, because it's like, yeah, I'm just going to take signals for a bit and then I'm going to make a bit of money and then I'll learn. You won't, and then you're living in a fantasy land. No one is there to make you rich. And if you think about it from this perspective, there's an old saying, teach a man to fish, all that kind of stuff. You've heard it before. It really is about that long term. You want to feel good about doing it for yourself and feel good about that you can trade more capital doing it as well. Otherwise, you're going to feel super vulnerable. And I'm sure a lot of you've got some serious goals. And I'd love to know below, especially as with this kind of time of the year as well in December, what goals are you focusing on for 2020? Are you planning now? Are you getting prepared? You want to make sure that you're going into 2020 with the right mindset, not focusing on signals and things like that. You want to focus on education. Even with education, that is going to serve you for the longer term, because you're going to learn how to become the asset, and then you can do this forever. That is the most important thing. And then it really comes down to your why. Why did you get in Forex in the first place? Why are you interested in the first place? Because if you're only interested in getting into Forex for the sake of making money, it's probably going to be quite difficult for you. There has to be a level of passion and commitment and long-term dedication from the very off, setting those bigger goals of your real why you're doing this in the first place, right? I still love the charts over nearly 11 years now. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. And that's because I really loved it from the very beginning and I was comfortable with the journey of success. Not once did I think about, how can I get somebody else to give me the signals to then make me rich? It doesn't really exist. Very rare that somebody's going to become successful that way. So if you're thinking about taking signals, just, take it with a grain of salt, take it with a pinch of salt, essentially. Think about longer term, will it serve you? And is it going to just create bad habits? Relying on someone for a whole year is a whole year that you could have spent learning, becoming the asset to then be able to do this self-sufficiently and self-sustainably. So I think that's the most important thing that you really want to take away from this video, which I hope that you all do, so you can be in this for the long game, because that's what we want. That's what we're creating at Falcon. Independent traders that can sustain this on their own. That is the #1 goal for us at Falcon. So for me to give you signals would to do you a disservice in this industry, to be completely honest. And that's just my viewpoint on it. There will be some other people out there that can provide signals that are probably quite accurate and they can do well for a period of time, but longer term, you're going to come unstuck and then eventually resent that person as well, because there will be a period of any trader that will have ups and downs and things like that. And when they have a down period and it's not working, you'll start blaming them when really you can't blame them. You can only blame yourself. And in this world, if you really want to be successful, you need to take full control over your own life and success within the market. So just something to think about as well. And I thought I'd just share, simple viewpoints on it. There's no hostility towards signal service or anything like that. But longer term, do I think you're better off learning the skill and becoming the asset? 100%. You'll thank yourself for it and think, do you know what? I can now do this forever. As long as I maintain, as long as I'm sustainable, as long as I'm doing something that can scale, so you're not focusing on, you know, the short-term gratification, you're thinking longer term, then you're going to set yourself up for success. And after all, you know, why are we in this business in the first place? You want to be in this game because you want to achieve your goals. So the best way, even at Falcon, we can help you do that is how can we teach you and give you the tools to become the asset, so then you can focus on having the skill set, and then you can do that longer term. Some of you have family, some of you have kids already, and you want to be thinking longer term. You don't want to be thinking about, you know, how can I rely on that person to tell me when to get in at the top, or when to buy, when to sell. It's just not going to work for you, and it's going to be very, very emotional. And that is the last thing we want. We want you to be calm, clear, concise. And how you do that is by putting in the work. There are no shortcuts in this business, and signals, in my opinion, is a big shortcut that very rarely works either. So just think about that. I'd love to know in the comments below if you've had this kind of experience before, if you found that some of them has worked for you, and just your overall thoughts on this topic, because I really do feel like people could benefit more if they just took a step back, took control, and said, you know what? Let's actually dedicate just a year or two of my life to learning this, and then I can do this by myself. And then I've got scale in mind, I can sustain it, I can do it longer term. Then you can get some clear clarity on your goals and your why. Then you can start mapping out your life and taking full control over that, because after all, that's the ultimate goal. But guys and girls, I really hope you've enjoyed this kind of rant, if you like, but I did think about it for a while because I've been getting a lot of questions. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to share my viewpoints. I would love to know your thoughts and your kind of experiences through that. And hopefully it's given you a bit of perspective. Hopefully it's helped you kind of take a step back, get some perspective, and think about, I need to take control of my own life. No one's going to make you rich but you. So take control of your life and just put in the work. It really is as black and white as that. Guys and girls, this is me signing out. Hope you have a successful week ahead and you've been enjoying the content. Leave a comment below your #1 takeaway from this video, and I'll speak to you all very soon.